Okay, so just before the video starts, I would like to thank everybody who watched my last video. That video was kind of a shit post, and that was super low effort. So if you could, try and show the same kind of attention to this video as if it was the last video. That would be really cool. And another thing that would be super, super cool is if you subscribed. But I hate saying and telling people to subscribe, so just watch the video at the very least. Anyway, adios. Let's get on with the video. Ah yes, Devil May Cry 4, that one game that Capcom completely and utterly rushed out, and for whatever reason thought would sell Call of Duty numbers, which is a decision that to this day still confuses the absolute fuck out of me, because both the genre of character action and the series Devil May Cry, to this day and at the time of dmc4's release, are incredibly fucking niche. But that's besides the point, we'll save all that for the Devil May Cry retrospective. So, what are we talking about today? We are talking about how to style in Devil May Cry 4. So, without further ado, Chapter 1.
What the hell is this?
Okay, so, let's say that it is 2008. You go to the store, you pick up a copy of Devil May Cry 4 for your Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3. You come home expecting Dante in all his beautiful firebrand red and his smoking sexy style and rebellion and ebony and ivory and everything from the third game, but slightly better. And instead of meeting with Dante at the beginning of the game, well, I mean technicalities, but still, instead of meeting with Dante at the beginning of the game, you're met with Nero. This fucking pleb. So, naturally, you have one of these fits.
I want it now!
So after you're done having your little rage fit, you decide to pick the game back up and decide to keep on playing, thus learning Nero's moveset, and kicking off Chapter 2. So as Nero, you have four main ways of defending yourself. You have his sword, the Red Queen, his gun, Blue Rose, Virgil's sword, Yamato, and Nero's right arm, the Devil Bringer. So, how can you all use those together and craft some really cool badass combos? So first off, we have Combo A, which is done by pushing the attack button 4 times in a row consecutively. Combo B, which is done by pushing the attack button once, staggering, and then mashing the button. Combo C, which is done by pushing the attack button 2 times, and then 4 more times. And then Combo D is just Combo A, but a bit beefier. So now we move on to Nero's aerial combo potential, consisting of Combo A, which is just pushing the attack button 3 times in a row. Roulette Spin, which is pushing the attack button 2 times, slightly delaying, and pushing it 1 more time. High Roller is Nero's air launcher, something similar to High Time from Devil May Cry 3. And then there's Exceed High Time, which we'll get to in a minute. Streak is literally just Stinger, but with a wider area of effect. Streak 2 is just Streak, but longer. And then Exceed Streak is Streak, but with a little bit more forward momentum. Blech. Split is literally just Helmbreaker from Devil May Cry 3. And then there's Double Down, which is interesting because rather than having him just cut down fluently, it's one big stab. And then there's Caliber. Now, the way that you want to do this is you want to jump, push back and then forward on the stick whilst locked on, and then the attack button. And then Excalibur is just that, but with more of an area of effect. Shuffle is the same input, by the way, just on the ground without any aerial stuff. Apologies if this segment is boring, but I have to be pretty straightforward with it. So that's all of Red Queen's moveset. So now we move on to the question that I'm pretty sure you're all still asking. What the fuck is an Exceed? Well, Exceed is a mechanic with Red Queen, where if you push L2 at just the right time, you get 1 or 2 or 3 stocks of Exceed. So, if you have 1 bar, that's good. If you have 2 bars, that's pretty good. And if you have 3, mwah, it is chef's kiss. It is beautiful. So the way it'll be characterized is the sword will be glowing completely, and there will be a different sound effect. I'll play the 2 sound effects side by side now. And that's pretty much Exceed in a nutshell. It also modifies some moves, so with Streak, if you have 1 bar, you do 1 more rotation. If you have 2 bars, you do 2 rotations. If you have 3 bars, you do 3 rotations. With Shuffle, you go, it's the same original move, but instead of going just once, you swing around for a second time. And outside of that, it doesn't really change that many moves, but basically the button timing for Exceed is wanting to push L2 at the very end of an attack, and it modifies the hell out of your combos and makes them look really stylish. But that's pretty much Red Queen in a nutshell. So now we move on to Nero's secondary items, the Devilbringer and Blue Rose, as well as Yamato. So starting off with Nero's secondary form of defense, the Devilbringer. What is it and what does it do? Well, you can use it to grab enemies from across the playing field and bring them to you, or vice versa depending on how big and heavy the enemy is. And you can just press the circle button, or the B button if you're playing on Xbox, to throw the enemy, push them into the ground, throw them back at other enemies, swing them around. Here, I'll show you a small montage of all the crazy shit you can do real quick. Oh, and by the way, Buster Arm works on bosses. So yeah, that's pretty much the Devilbringer in a nutshell. So moving on, we have Nero's gun, the Blue Rose. Now it can be shot just like Dante's guns in the third entry. You can shoot it one at a time, or they adapted this from Gunslinger, which is really cool. You can hold the button down and do a charge shot. Charge shot level 1 isn't really going to do much, it just does a little bit of knockback. Charge shot level 2, however, it does a little bit of knockback and an explosion. Charge shot level 3 is actively unethical. Like, it's absolutely insane how much damage it does. So it does 2 shots plus knockback, and if you wait a little bit, a whole ass explosion. It's fucking beautiful. So now we move on to more of the oddball of Nero's arsenal. So a little bit of the way into Devil May Cry 4, Nero gets Yamato. And you'd think, oh, he'll just have weapon switching like Dante in Devil May Cry 3. That is not the case. Rather than having a whole separate weapon, you have a modified moveset. So Devil Trigger does not work the same for Nero as it does for, say, Dante in Devil May Cry 3. Rather than going full demon, you get a little hologram behind you, like a stand from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And what it does is it modifies your moveset to where there's a second hit behind every hit of your individual attacks. But you also get 2 new moves, Maximum Bet and Showdown. So Showdown is done by locking on, pushing back on the left stick, and pushing triangle circle. It's a charge move that launches a cool little like laser thing across the arena, really convenient for certain fights. And Maximum Bet is done by pushing lock on, forward on the left stick, and triangle and circle. Those are your 2 new moves. And then I guess you can classify Summon Swords from your gun as a 3rd move, but that's just kind of a modifier. So yeah, that's pretty much all of Nero's like weapons and moveset. So now we move on to Chapter 3.
Towers, my secret powers awaken. Hand of fire, my soul desires retribution. I will fight to protect you from all this darkness. Fight till the end, through the gates of heaven. Sacrifice everything just to know you're safe beside me again. I only need you to know I'll save you tonight from the demon you fight. Devil bringer, let love be the flame, cut down all enemy. Devil bringer. Time to attack, Rage is taking over. No turning back when it's do or die. Knock them all back, I can feel the power. Checkmate in black, use the creed of sight. Not disavowed, I'm a demon slayer. I can't allow them a victory. Fortuna burns from a sick betrayal. Don't be afraid, cause you can count on me to fight. To protect you from all this darkness. Fight till the end, through the gates of heaven. Sacrifice everything just to know you're safe beside me again. I only need you to know I will save you tonight from the demons you fight. Devil bringer, let my love be the flame, cut down all enemies. Devil bringer. I will fight to protect you from all this darkness. Fight till the end, through the gates of heaven. Sacrifice everything just to know you're safe beside me again. I only need you to know I will save you tonight from the demons you fight. Devil bringer, let my
Hey, sorry to break the pace. This is editing me. Hi. At the time of recording this, it is like 3:40 a.m. and I'm very, very tired. But I forgot to mention this during the Devilbringer segment because you can like deflect attacks and stuff, but you can't just push the button. You gotta time it right. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna finish this fucking video and then I'm gonna go fuck to sleep and yeah. Anyway, back to the video.
This party's getting crazy. Let's rock.
So basically, at the halfway point of Devil May Cry 4, you switch characters from Nero to Dante. And if I can make an analogy of it, think of it like two of your favorite bands playing at the same venue, except they're playing two different genres of music. Like if Slipknot were to start playing at Nirvana's Unplugged. It doesn't really carry over the same vibe, but you're not against it. We can apply that same logic to Dante, but we also have to apply the same problem the dmc4 has even in the beginning of the game. Terrible enemies. Like, let's say for instance the Blitz. With Nero, you can just Buster Arm it. With Dante, there's not really a whole lot you can do without having multiple hours in this game. So those enemies become kind of hard to deal with on a first time playthrough. But with that said, we lead into our next segment where I talk about Dante's moveset and how you can cheese these terrible enemies. So with Dante in Devil May Cry 4, you have some returning weapons like Rebellion, Ebony and Ivory, and the shotgun. And they control literally exactly the same. Except for Rebellion, some of the inputs are changed, but it's ultimately pretty much the same. So now we move on to Dante's other weapons like Gilgamesh and Lucifer, as well as Pandora. So, Gilgamesh from Devil May Cry 4 is a very similar weapon to Beowulf from Devil May Cry 3. They have a lot of the same attributes, the same mechanics, and they're the same kind of weapon. So, if you know a lot about Beowulf and you know how to use that weapon effectively, I feel like you'd be pretty good at using Gilgamesh. Although do keep in mind that some of the inputs for certain moves are changed. So, without further ado, let's actually get into this weapon's moveset. So, Combo A is done by pushing the attack button 4 times in a row. Combo B is done by pushing the attack button 2 times, pausing, and then 2 more times. Full House is done by pushing the attack button in the sky. Draw is done by pushing Lock On, back on the stick, and Triangle. Although if you hold the button you can do a powerful punch, similar to Nero's Shuffle attack. Kick 13 is done by pushing Lock On, forward, and then the attack button. And then Flush is just jumping with this weapon equipped. It's not really good for a combo starter, it's not really a launcher, it's just kind of whatever. So now we have Lucifer, and Lucifer's Combo A is done by pushing the attack button 5 times in a row consecutively. Combo B, which is done by pushing the attack button once, pausing, and then a second time. Combo C, which is done by pushing the attack button once, pausing, pushing the attack button again, pausing, and then pushing the attack button again. Combo D, which is done by pushing the attack button 2 times, pausing, and then doing it a 3rd time. Combo E, which is done by pushing the attack button 4 times, pausing, and then pushing for a 4th time. And then Splash, which is done by pushing the attack button in the air. And then there's Ecstasy, which is just where he throws out the rose to make the needles explode. Pin Up is done by pushing the Lock On button, and then forward on the stick, and then the attack button. Something like a stinger input. So now we have Pandora, and Pandora is basically just your rocket launcher for this game. If you shoot once, you're going to get a rocket. If you shoot and hold the button, you're going to get 3 rockets. And if you shoot, hold the button, spin around a bunch, you get a fucking laser cannon! And then if you shoot it in the air, you get a minigun. So as far as styles are concerned in this game, you don't switch them like you do in Devil May Cry 3, that being at the beginning of every given mission or at a divinity statue. In this game, you switch them on the fly, at any second you want. Now you have the main 4 styles from Devil May Cry 3, that being Trickster, Gunslinger, Swordmaster, and Royal Guard. But you also, later on in Dante's campaign, get Yamato, and thus, Darkslayer. All these combined together can make some really cool combos, but it is kind of daunting. And if I could express Dante in Devil May Cry 4 for a first-time player with just one clip, it would be this one. So for Trickster, it's pretty much exactly the same, if not a little slower, as well as giving us Mustang, which is just being able to dash and jump off of an enemy. And then Flipper is when you get hit, you can push the circle button and rebound instantly. So now we move on to Swordmaster, which is largely the exact same as it was in Devil May Cry 3, but with some inputs switched around. But the most important modification to Swordmaster is new drive. So you have the same singular drive from Devil May Cry 3, where it only goes out once. And then after that, there's quick drive, where when you have Swordmaster, you can push triangle and circle at the same time for a quick drive. And then overdrive is drive coming out multiple times, and it's really cool looking. And then Dance Macabre has a new animation after that, which is admittedly pretty neat, but pretty minor. So for Gilgamesh, there is Shock, which is just done by holding the circle button. Shocking, which is the same input but in the air. And then there's Beast Uppercut, which is done by holding forward on the stick, lock on, and circle. And then Divine Dragon is just the same input but charged. And then after that we have Real Impact, which is done by pushing lock on, back on the stick, and the circle button. After that, we have Lucifer's moveset with Swordmaster, starting with Discipline, which is just done by holding the circle button. Climax, which is done by holding lock on, back on the stick, and the circle button. And then Bondage, which is done by pushing lock on, forward on the stick, and then circle. And that's pretty much everything for Swordmaster. Now we move on to Royal Guard. So as far as Royal Guard's concerned, it's pretty much the exact same style from Devil May Cry 3. And the only really real new move is Dreadnought, and some slight timing tweaks, so it would be easier to use in this game. But overall, it's pretty much just the exact same style as it was in Devil May Cry 3. Moving on, we have Gunslinger. So as far as Gunslinger is concerned, much like all the other styles in this game, it's exactly the same as it was in Devil May Cry 3. But where it really shines is with Pandora. So first off, we have Argument, which is just a really big fuck-off floating chair full of missiles. It's fucking badass. Then we have Grief, which is just a spinning blade that you can toss out at a whim. Then we have Omen, which is a light that comes out of the suitcase and stuns enemies. So that's pretty much Gunslinger in a nutshell. Moving on, we have Darkslayer. So a little ways into Dante's portion of the campaign, he gets Yamato, and with that he gets some new moves, like Dimension Slash, done by either holding forward or back on the movement stick whilst locked on and pushing circle. He also gets Yamato's Combo A from Devil May Cry 3 and Virgil's Aerial Rave. It's not really that great in terms of a full moveset like it would be if it was a full weapon, but it's still pretty neat to have. So that's Dante's full arsenal and styles and moveset in a nutshell. So now, without further ado, we move on to Chapter 6. So if I could explain DMC4 Dante in a nutshell, think of it like having two different kinds of Dante. There's Dante number 1, where you're trying to do really stylish shit and, making it happen, doing some really cool reversals, jump canceling and the like. And then there's Dante number 2, where you have, you're spamming Stinger, you're trying to get some moves off, but nothing's really coming together. And overall, you're just trying to kill these terrible enemies that somehow made it into the final game. So with this segment in particular, I'm going to show you how to take care of these terrible enemies. Starting off with the Blitz. So a problem that the Blitz has amongst all of its other insane problems is that it moves way too fast for you to be able to hit it. So what I recommend, I know I'm spouting real interesting advice here, fucking top tier shit, stay out of its way. And then as far as your loadout is concerned, have Gilgamesh and Pandora on hand, with your style being Gunslinger, and do the briefcase attack, and then either do Shock or Real Impact, and that should be a pretty easy way to take care of this enemy. So yeah, that's pretty much the Blitz in a nutshell. So next off we have Chimera, and realistically the only good way to take care of them is by using as many ranged moves as possible, like drive, round trip, like focusing more on guns than anything, basically making sure that they don't get close to you, because as soon as they get close to you they're just going to launch a bunch of spikes swinging around their body, and it's really, really annoying. So the easiest way to take care of them is just use ranged moves. So next up we have the Mephistos, and the easiest way to take care of one of them is just by charging round trip and using honeycomb fire, which is done by holding lock on, Wilson Gunslinger, and pushing the stick forward and the circle button. And then if there's multiple, you switch to Pandora, using round trip on one of them, and then jumping up in the air and using the chair move, which launches off a bunch of rockets. So that's the easiest way to take care of the Mephistos. So for me not knowing these enemies' names, I will just proceed to call them the fish fuckers, because they're really annoying and they look like fish. And if I might just preface this up front, I have no real way of defeating these guys with a cheese strat. The most consistent way I've been able to defeat these guys is just by spraying and praying, and using shock when needed. And that carries you through most encounters with these guys. So yeah, that's pretty much the fish fuckers in a nutshell. And now, with DMC's shittiest enemies out of the way, we move on to Chapter 7. So what is hidden tech in Devil May Cry? I hear you all asking at the same time. Seriously, you guys need to quiet down, it's fucking hurting my ears. Well, that consists of stuff like jump canceling, distortion, and DT canceling. So what is jump canceling? Jump canceling is jumping off of an enemy's head and resetting your aerial movement. And it's really good for mid-air combos and overall just looking really, really cool. I don't know anything about the specific timings of it because I'm bad at explaining that kind of stuff, but I will link some videos down in the description explaining the hidden tech of Devil May Cry 4 in greater detail. So next off we have Distortion, and Distortion is basically just activating Devil Trigger on the first frame of an attack to get it to hit twice. Now we can pair that with moves like Real Impact, where you can time it to hit on the third hit, which is usually the one that hits the hardest. And this move goes from, wow, that's really cool, to actively unethical and fucking dangerous for mankind. Fuck nuclear bombs, bro. Distorted Real Impact is fucking insane. So now we move on to Devil Trigger canceling, and this is tech that is exclusive to Nero, and it has a lot of properties with his Devil Trigger animation. Whereas Dante's is just turning into a demon, Nero's is very explosive, and what you can utilize that to do is cancel any momentum of a forward moving attack like Streak or Caliber, and you can do that for mid-air positioning or just to look cool. But that's pretty much the tech segment done. Like I said earlier, I'll link a video in the description going into more detail. So now we move on to Chapter 8.
No turning back, we are born a dream in a world full of sin where we never could reach.
So, in conclusion, yeah, I know this video is long as fuck, it's like 35 minutes, quit bitching. So, in conclusion, just some new channel updates. I have an Instagram account now, so if you guys want updates on current projects or anything, you can go there. I'll link it in the description and in my channel description as well. And then, a little bit of story time. This video was supposed to come out 2 weeks ago, and then when I went to upload it, all the footage was gone. So not only did I have to go in and re-record all of the footage, but that's also the reason that some of the footage doesn't exactly like one-to-one match up with what I'm saying. Can you tell this part isn't scripted? So, yeah, that's all the new channel stuff out of the way. I'll be uploading some more memes soon, so be tuned in for those. God, that sounds so weird to say. But yeah, if you're watching this during the day, have a lovely, lovely, lovely day, and if you're watching this during the night, have a lovely, 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 lovely night. Alright, adios, gang. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Thank you so very, very much for 41 subs. It's considered a small number, but I am so happy to be able to entertain 41 people. Thank you guys so much. Alright, I am actually fucking ending this video, okay? Bye.